Imagine riding a river in a small boat. The current is strong. Rocks jut out unexpectedly. The sky darkens. Sometimes you try to steer, and it works. Sometimes it doesn't. You cannot control the river. Yet, do you despair? Or do you learn the art of rowing well, of leaning into the tides, of staying calm, being alert, adjusting to what you can do? Every one of us is in that boat, with storms, surprises, things beyond our reach. In daily life, sickness, loss, the behavior of others, the unpredictability of fate. So much lies outside our control. Yet we chase control as though we can have it all. What if true happiness does not come from controlling everything? What if happiness grows, or even depends, on knowing what we can control, what we cannot, and living well in between? Stoicism offers a powerful framework, a division between what is within our power and what is not. And through this distinction, it shows us a path to peace even amid chaos. Today, we will explore how embracing what we cannot control, while acting with integrity in what we can, opens the door to a deeper, more resilient happiness. Welcome to the Unfolding Journey, a space devoted to exploring wisdom from the ages and applying it to modern life. Here, we question, reflect, and seek the insights that help us live with purpose, serenity, and courage. If you're looking for clarity in chaos, strength in uncertainty, and peace in what you cannot change, you're in the right place. The core Stoic distinction: what we control versus what we don't. At the heart of Stoicism lies this simple but profound division. What we can control: our judgments, choices, intentions, responses, effort, attitude, values, whether we act virtuously. What we cannot control: external outcomes, other people's actions, the weather, health, loss, praise, or blame, ultimately death and circumstances beyond our influence. Stoics teach that much of our suffering comes from confusing these, trying to control what is not ours, or being upset when what we can't change remains unchanged. Happiness, then, depends heavily on focusing our energy on what we can influence and accepting what we cannot. Why this distinction matters for happiness. When you live as though you must control everything, you build a fragile foundation. You become anxious about outcomes. If things don't go your way, you feel powerless. You expend energy fighting things you cannot change, wasting strength, time, peace. You tie your happiness to variables outside your grasp: job security, other people's opinions, circumstances. When they shift, you suffer. On the other hand, when you accept this distinction, several positive shifts occur. You stop investing effort where it can't yield real returns. You reclaim your energy. You reduce frustration and disappointment. You stop blaming fate or others for things that are beyond your power. You align your life with your own actions, your intentions, your virtues. You find dignity, agency, affirmations of character. This doesn't mean surrender or passivity. It means choosing your field of influence wisely, taking responsibility for your inner world, and letting the rest be. How Stoics cultivated control over the internal. Stoics were deeply practical. They developed habits to strengthen their ability to control what is within, even when the external roils. Self-awareness and reflection. Examining one's own judgments. Are they grounded? Are they helpful? Are they within your power to change? Choosing responses. When insulted, when things go wrong, when thwarted, pause before reacting. Choose how to respond rather than reacting reflexively. Focusing on virtue. Courage, justice, temperance, wisdom. These are internal. They reside in choice, in intention, in the manner of our actions, more than in what happens to us. Mindfulness of expectations. Letting go of rigid expectations of how things should be. Learning to accept things as they are, rather than as we wish. Acceptance of what we cannot control. The Stoic art. What about accepting the uncontrollable? Stoics didn't say ignore it or pretend it doesn't exist. They said something deeper. Recognize what you cannot control, let it go, and give your attention to what you can do in response. Acceptance doesn't mean weakness, it means clarity. It means acknowledging reality fully, rather than denying or resisting parts of it that cannot be changed. Consider illness, loss, aging. These are often outside our control, or at least the timing of them. Stoicism invites us to prepare mentally for them, not with fear or dread, but with readiness. If this happens, how can I respond well? That readiness gives strength, so that when hardship comes, one is not destroyed but able to act with composure, virtue, and purpose. Misuses and common objections. It's important to clarify what Stoic acceptance is not. It is not indifference towards suffering. Stoics do feel pain, they feel loss. What they reject is being overwhelmed by what they cannot change. It is not fatalism in a negative sense, giving up. Rather, it is recognition of limits and acting freely within them. It is not passivity or apathy. You do not give up on acting in the world. You do not decline caring. You decline caring about what you cannot affect. Objections often include, but if you stop caring about outcomes, don't you become resigned, weak, or disconnected? The Stoic answer, no, because caring about virtue, meaning, right action, is always under your control. Caring about outcome is often outside control. You can act excellently, even if things end badly. How this shapes meaning in life. When you accept the control division, your sense of meaning and purpose reorients. Purpose shifts from achieving external markers, wealth, reputation, approval, to living in alignment with values and character. Meaning becomes more internal. Your integrity, your kindness, your courage, these become central. Because even if the external world is chaotic, you can still do good, still act well. Relationships deepen. Without needing constant confirmation or control, you relate more authentically. You listen more, trust more, love more freely. Living in chaos, real-life scenarios. Let's imagine some real-life scenes and how this framework applies. Work challenge. You put in effort, but a project fails due to factors outside your control. Instead of despairing, you reflect. I cannot control every variable. What I can do is learn, maintain integrity, help others, adapt. Relationship conflict. Someone close treats you unfairly. You can't control their behavior or their opinion, but you can control how you respond, calmly, with honesty, with compassion, or decide what boundaries to set. Health scare, a diagnosis or decline. You may not control the disease, but you can control your attitude, your self-care, your gratitude, your relationships during the process, and even how you find meaning. In each case, happiness is not hiding from chaos. It's engaging with what you can, letting go of what you cannot, and refusing to let circumstances rob you of your character or your peace. So, can you be happy without control? According to Stoicism, yes. And more than that, perhaps it's the only way to genuine stability of happiness. Because when happiness relies on what we cannot control, it always lies on unstable ground. When happiness is rooted in what we can control, how we think, how we respond, how we act, then even in chaos, storms, losses, you have a ground that cannot be taken from you. You build resilience, purpose, peace. You grow character. You become more free. Thank you for joining me in this exploration of control and happiness. If this reflection spoke to you, if you feel called to live more intentionally, to let go of what you cannot change and fully commit to what you can, then subscribe to the unfolding journey. Hit like if this was helpful. Leave a comment. What is something today you tried to control but couldn't? How might you respond differently next time? And don't forget to turn on notifications so you won't miss more videos that help you live with clarity, calm, and courage. Until next time, control what you can, accept what you can't, live with virtue, and find your peace in the midst of life's chaos.